Hi guys, welcome to Saturday morning yoga, except it's really Friday afternoon, so it's raining and it's gross, and that's kind of what I'm basing the class on today. So when you do this class tomorrow, it may not match the weather, but it will probably match your mood because it's now day 55. 55. Remember when we first started doing these and I used to wear under eye concealer and mascara and lip gloss for you? And now I don't. Ever. My holes in my ears may have closed up because it's been that long since I have worn any kind of earrings. So, look at my hair too. Look at that up there. That's crazy. But we're going to do some yoga and it's going to make us feel good. And we get to be together, even if it's virtually, and that's all that really matters for the next little bit of time, right? So unroll your mat. You know when you vacuum and you clean, and then you still see stuff on your rug, and it's kind of annoying? That's what's happening. Unroll your mat, grab your strap. We're definitely going to use the strap today. And if you need a blanket or a towel or something to sit up on, grab that as well, and just set yourself up, okay? We're going to stay low for a while, and then we'll get up and move a little bit, and then we're going to come back down and do our favorite strappy hip opener because that seems to be a crowd pleaser, and you know, I like people to like me, so so I'm a bit of a crowd pleaser person myself. So that's what we're going to do today. And my regular students, and maybe you guys too, I don't know if I've said this to you, but my practice tends to shift depending on the seasons and a little bit on the weather. And today I went to the farmer's market this morning, and then I walked the dog. I did that stupid Tabata class that I really like, but I really hate at the same time. I cleaned the house, and now it's yoga time, and I'm just in the mood to stretch and just lengthen. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so get your strap, have a seat, try to ignore that my hair looks like coral growing in the bottom of the ocean. Or something Grinchy, right? I keep thinking of the Grinch. I don't know, I don't care. So, all right, get yourself ready. Also, I'm still wearing the new pants. I mean, I washed them. I'm not like still wearing them like from days ago, but I'm wearing them again because I do think they have potential. I just need to get used to them. But I did shave so that when I do this, I don't feel stubbles because that kind of weirded me out a little bit. So also I wanted to show you my new favorite thing. I don't know if you can see it, but it's by Oil of Olay and it's called a serum stick. It smells really nice. And it's got vitamin B3, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, and it's for brightening. And the reason I love this is because I am lazy when it comes to skincare. I do it, but I'm lazy about it. And with this, I think I told you this about my Jumbo Treat chapsticks the other day. With this, you just lay in bed after you wash your face and wash your makeup off, and you literally just crayon all over your face, and it smells delightful. And it just soaks in as you're sleeping. Look at that. No effort. You don't even have to touch it. I love the smell. And I swear, when you wake up in the morning, your skin looks pretty decent. It looks fresh and kind of glowy, which is nice. So, Oil of Olay serum. And this is the brightening one. It's nice. So, just a little quarantine tip for you. Also, the Willowbrook Starbucks drive-thru is open again, so that has made my life. This is not the original drink. The original drink is my usual black tea lemonade unsweetened with extra lemonade. This is a Crystal Light Energy because that's the kind of day I'm having. But I'm reusing the cup. So, okay, lie down on your back. Lie down and get cozy. I hope you guys had a good day so far. Well, you're going to be doing this on Saturday. That screws me up a little bit. You know how like 5 or 6 weeks ago it was really exciting to clean out closets and drawers and purge stuff, and everyone had huge piles of garbage on the curb on garbage day, and now not so much because the novelty's worn off. So yesterday I cleaned out all of Cam's stuff, and our garbage cans are overflowing, and it was really exciting. But I had to do it when it like hit me, because I knew it wasn't going to happen again soon. And I kind of went nuts. I threw out like bed linens that we had registered for when we got married, because then I was like a stupid 20-something-year-old who didn't realize the value of organic cotton. And now all of our bed linens are white organic cotton, and we can't sleep on anything else. Possibly can't sleep on anything else. So I threw out all of that nonsense, and it just felt super good. So the last couple days have been really productive, but most days aren't really productive. Most days I just walk the dog and make some kind of nonsense for dinner. I do think, however, though, that my kids, who have been so amazing and so just roll with the whole thing since day one, I think they're starting to crack, because I literally 10 minutes ago said, do you guys want Chick-fil-A for dinner, or do you want frozen pizza for dinner? Because Mike is working late, and I don't care if I eat cereal. So they said frozen pizza. They didn't want Chick-fil-A, which is one of their very favorite things. So that was kind of weird, and I'm going to have to watch them very closely now, because it could be the beginning of some sort of tandem mental breakdown for my boys. So lay on your back, close your eyes, bring your arms out, palms up, big T position. You know, different yoga teachers start classes differently. I tend to always start my classes with my students on their backs. It's very rare that I don't, unless I'm doing some kind of breath work and I want to start with that or lead with that. But I traditionally always start with my students on their back. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure why I do that, other than the fact that that's how I like to start my practice, to kind of lay down and take inventory and take a minute to breathe and see how things are feeling. So if you've been practicing with me for the last, let's see, almost 8 weeks, right? Like 7.5 weeks. I think this is our 15th episode, but something got screwed up on YouTube, so it'll show up as the 14th, but I think it's our 15th episode. Maybe you're getting used to it, even if you normally practice with someone other than me, but this is just how I like to start when I practice. And I tend to teach that way. I tend to teach from what I like about yoga, and then bring it to you and hope that it resonates with you. And if it doesn't, then by all means, you know, I'm always telling my students it's good to try a variety of teachers, and I can always recommend other people to you if I'm not, you know, sitting well with you. I just want people to love yoga and to realize the benefits of it. But if you're wondering why I always start and end the same way, it's just because that's how I like to start and end, and that's kind of what I've done for 15 years. So if there's something, if you'd rather sit up, if you'd rather sit cross-legged, if you'd rather sit wide-legged, if you'd rather, you know, start in any other position, then by all means do that. But if this is good for you, then let's just keep doing this, okay? So arms are out, palms are up. Your feet are just kind of allowing gravity to pull them out to the sides a little. If when you're lying on the ground like this, your low back starts to hurt, some people have a bigger natural arch than others in their low back. So sometimes lying flat on your back can be uncomfortable. If that's the case, then bend your knees and tower your legs in like this. So your feet are out to the sides, your knees are towering in, and then you're lying back. That helps to take the natural curvature out of your low back, and it may help to relieve a little bit of discomfort if that's what you're feeling. Find your breath here, in and out through the nose, unless you're super stuffy. I'm a little stuffy today, so I don't know that that's going to work for me, but in and out through your nose, taking a second, holding the breath in your low belly, and then slowly exhaling. I wish we had smell-o-vision right now. I wish you guys were here with me practicing in my living room, because really quick in between walking the dog and cleaning the house, I made meatballs and a pot of sauce to just kind of cook for the day, so that at some point this weekend we can have that for dinner, probably Saturday night. And it smells so good, you know, like the garlic and onions and basil and tomatoes. It's It's my favorite smell in the whole world. I grew up in Nutley, so that's sort of the smell of Nutley. Like you drive through Nutley on a Sunday morning and that's what you smell in the air just everywhere you drive. So it smells super good. Take your hands, bring them to your belly. But instead of doing it this way, I want you to do it this way. And I want you to fan your fingers out and put your lower hand, whichever hand that is, low down on the core. So you're not up high under your rib cage. You're low down, you're covering your belly button, you're covering the area underneath your belly button, and you're spreading your fingers out so you're covering a lot of surface area. And the reason I want you to do that is so that when you inhale, you can feel your belly puff up like a balloon a little bit, right? And then when you exhale, you feel it sink in, right? You feel the balloon deflate. So you inhale and fill up, and you exhale and you deflate. And I want you to take a couple breaths like this with your hands feeling your breath. We've talked a little bit about breath in Sanskrit. It's called your prana, and it's very simply translated as life force, which your breath is, right? Your breath is your life force. And I know I've said this before probably a million times, probably to you guys once or twice too over the last 7 or 8 weeks, but we don't tend to breathe consciously unless we're breathing consciously. And in yoga, for the most part, you want your breath to be conscious. So when you're actually lying here and you're feeling your breath, you're feeling your prana move in and out of your body, it sort of triggers something that reminds you throughout the rest of your practice that day to consciously breathe and to pay attention to your breath. And because we're going to be doing the hip opener with the strap, which I know can be a little tedious because it's a little time consuming, and really to get like the deep in benefit of the femur, creating space in the hip socket, you have to hold things for a little bit. Focusing on your breath is one way to just sort of take your mind off of any discomfort you might feel, right? So I want you to get used to that, just even for today. You can forget about it for the next class. I'll remind you at some other time. But for today, I want you to try to be as conscious as you can of your breath, because it's going to be a little bit of a diversion for you if you get a little uncomfortable in class. So take one more big inhale and then exhale the breath. Arms are still out in the big T. Knees are going to come into the center. We're going to do the same twist that we always start with, because again, I like to start my practice with a twist and kind of see if I can crack my back a little bit. So the knees pull in, feet are off the ground, legs are going to drop over to your right hand side, and you're going to pay attention to the left arm out at your side, fingers spread nice and wide, back of the hand down on the ground, and you're looking straight up or you're looking towards the left hand. Let the legs settle, right? Let them settle. And I've mentioned this before, that I know that, see, the thing is I talk so much during my classes, and I know I give a lot of instruction that some of you may not need, or that you may not even care about, and it may just go like right in and right out. But some of you need more instruction and more cues, and I forget what I say and what I don't say because I teach a lot, even now, even during this pandemic. I'm so fortunate that I'm still able to teach quite a few classes every week, which is really nice. But what I want to say to you here is that if the top leg, so if your legs are going to the right, the top leg is your left leg right now. If your left leg is not resting comfortably on the inside of the right inner knee, you can take the right hand and anchor down the top of the left leg, or you can just let it kind of float. But if it's a couple inches above, which for some people it might be if your hip is super tight, you don't want that. So if that's the case, then you definitely want to take the right hand and just hold the left knee down a little bit and just gently guide it so that it stays a little bit more anchored. So what we're going to play with today, I like to have a little theme a little bit. Usually it's more of an anatomical theme, and that I pick an area that I want to work on lengthening or opening and kind of gear all the poses towards that. But what we're going to play with a little bit today is the difference and the very, very fine line between something being great and something being really, really awful. And the reason I want to talk about that for a minute is because I feel like I've heard that from like 3 or 4 different sources in the last week. And it's an interesting concept, especially in yoga for me, but just in life in general. So bring your knees up to center. Come on into either happy baby, which is outer edges of your feet, or big toes with your 2 fingers, your yogi toe lock, pulling everything straight down towards the armpits, bottoms of the feet facing the ceiling, and then find your movement a little on your low back. And then bring the arms out. Let the legs go over to the left, and pay attention to what your right arm is doing. So you're either looking straight up or you're looking towards your right hand. So what I'm talking about with this is the very fine line between having a great experience and having a really crummy experience. But usually it will end up being great. You know what I mean? So an example, one of the examples of where I kind of heard this week, and this is true for me with yoga, like very often the classes or the workshops I take that are the hardest for me, and the ones where I'm like sweating and slipping off my mat and, you know, super bitter as I'm holding a lunge for, you know, 2 minutes or 3 minutes, like just, you know, they end up being the workshops or the classes that I leave feeling the best and having learned the most from. So, Mike, my husband, and I were watching the new Seinfeld special the other night on Netflix, Seinfeld 2020. And it was all right. I kind of wanted it to be better than it was. But he talked a little bit about this. And his example was when you go to a baseball game in the city, like the Yankees or the Mets or something, and you order a hot dog. And right off the bat, you're going to pay a ridiculous amount of money for this hot dog. The hot dog's probably going to be cold. The roll's probably going to be kind of stale. The guy who sells it to you may look really scuzzy and dirty, and he might be an ex-con, but you're in the middle of New York City, you're at a baseball game, hopefully it's a beautiful day, and that hot dog is going to be the best hot dog you've ever had because of the total experience. So every year, you're going to still want to buy that hot dog, even if it's the grossest hot dog ever, because it's also the greatest hot dog ever. And so I liked that example because I like visuals and I was able to kind of internalize that and visualize it. But my yoga practice is a lot like that. You know, like the things that I dislike the most, that are the most uncomfortable for me, very often are the poses that I need the most and that I need to do more of. And it doesn't mean that they'll ever get more comfortable because my right hip may always stay super tight, but it means that I still need it. And in the end, I'm always going to feel better when I do it. And I think this hip opener with the strap is one of those poses, and a couple other things that we're going to do are one of those things. But it's funny, the feedback I get from you guys, especially when we do something like the strappy hip opener, because lots of you will tell me, oh my gosh, I love that. Let's do that every day. Let's do that all the time. I wish I had time to do that all the time. And others will say, oh, I don't like that. I feel like it just took up 12 minutes of time and we could have been doing other stuff. So it's sort of the yin and yang of yoga. But a couple of the things that we're going to do today might be those things for you where they just don't feel great and you're hating it. But in the end, hopefully, you feel really good. So, all right, knees up to center. Come on into happy baby, which is one hand on the outside of each foot, pulling the knees down into the underarm area, or yogi toe lock with your 2 fingers, your pointer and your middle finger, grabbing the big toes, pulling the legs wide, pulling the feet wide, bottoms of the feet facing the ceiling, and then pulling everything straight down. And then again, find your movement. Find the low back movement. Just got an idea for the next class that I want to teach with you. I put reminders in my phone so that when I come up with an idea, especially in like normal, typical life, when I come up with an idea for a class that I know some people will really like and I don't want to forget and disappoint them the next week and teach something totally different, I put a reminder in my phone for like 2 days before the class so that I remember what I promised I would teach so that I can plan the class around that. But very often I plan my classes as I'm driving to the class because that's what works for me. When I first started teaching, I had a notebook and I wrote everything out and it was very precious and cute. And now it's usually just somewhere in my head. Okay, let's come over onto hands and knees. Keep your strap nearby. If you didn't get a strap, if you didn't order one from Amazon or grab one on a Target run, get a belt, get a scarf, get a men's tie, get a thick piece of ribbon that's like maybe at least 6 feet long, if not 8 feet, which is what I prefer. Just try to grab something, and if you don't possibly have anything around that you can use, you can do it with your fingers, but it's going to be harder and a little less comfortable than it already is. It's already uncomfortable. How did I say that? It's going to be more uncomfortable than it normally would be, is what I wanted to say. So come on over onto hands and knees. Push your blanket to the side. Okay, so here's what's going on with these pants. I tried to take the belts off them because the belt is what was annoying me, because it's a lot of material and it kind of bunched up underneath my t-shirt, and it's sewn to the back of the pants. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. But in general, I like them and I like how they washed. So I think they're keepers. And now obviously I'm super stressed out that I only bought 2 pairs of black, and I should have also bought the navy and even maybe the olive green. So that's gonna plague me for a long time unless I just go get them. So curl your toes under, but going shopping for anything that's not essential food feels really uncomfortable and frivolous to me. I don't even like wandering around. I mean, I go to CVS to buy things like serum sticks, but I'm not super comfortable with it. Let's start to cat and cow. Spread your fingers. Remember what we said about elbow creases not facing out, right? So right now my elbow creases are facing you. I'm hyperextending. I want to put a bend, I want to soften, and I want them to face in towards one another. So we're going to start to cat and cow, moving on our breath, being conscious of moving on our breath, okay? Inhale and round up. Exhale, arch your back and look up. Keep moving. Inhaling, exhaling. Try to exaggerate the movement. Like right now for me, my exhale, I'm really trying to exaggerate the movement out through my tailbone as much as I can, just because that's feeling really good. Inhale and exhale, moving on the pace of your own breath. And then we're going to come to a tabletop. From here, we're just going to move our knees back a little bit. Lean over our wrists. So elbows, shoulders are over the wrist. So our thighs are at kind of a weird angle. We're not at a 90-degree angle right now. That's what we want. We're going to bring our hips to the floor. Find a high cobra, unclench your butt, right? And then press back, hips to heels, straight arms, keeping the hands planted where they are and coming into this weird mock child's pose. And then inhale forward, hips to the floor, unclench, and then press back. And again, consciously moving on the breath, doing things that are easy to pay attention to the pose, but also to pay attention to your breath, right? And then again, back. And let's do one more. Inhale. If your toes have been curled under like mine have, because I have a foot cramp, flip them. Curl them on. If they've been flat, I mean, flip them and curl them under. Unclench the butt. Try to find some length in your neck. Curl the toes under, lift the hips, come right up into your downward facing dog. So we're going to do something here that we haven't done before. We're going to hold our dog for 1 minute just to build some inner heat, okay? So I will count us down in my head. I'll let you know different increments. If you need to come down onto hands and knees, by all means do that. If you'd like to play around, inhale forward into your plank a little bit, you can do that. But we're going to hold for 1 minute starting now. Let your neck roll a little. Drop your heels as low as they're comfortable going. Keep the tiny bend in your knee as well as that little micro bend in your elbow. If you're at all stuffy, you might notice that you're getting a little stuffier in this position. You're in an inversion, meaning your head is lower than your heart. but once you go upright, it'll all be okay. So we're at the 30-second mark. We're halfway through. Maybe play a little, find your plank. Come up on your toes, bend your knees, drop the heels, do whatever feels good here. "20 seconds left. "10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So let's come on down. Let's go into our wide knee child's pose. Your arms and shoulders may be burning a little bit. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So go wide with your knees. Forehead, chin, chest to the ground, arms out in front of you. Just find a restful, comfortable pose for a couple seconds. Come on up. Now you are going to grab your blanket, your towel, whatever you have to kind of sit on while we just do some lengthening things down on the ground, and then we're going to go into our backs and do our hip opener, okay? So I have a trusty Mexican blanket here. Y'all can use whatever you have handy. You're going to start wide, okay? My favorite easy hip opener always is just to sit like this, because it requires no effort, and you're opening your hips, you're lengthening your inner thigh muscles, you're lengthening your hamstrings, you're lengthening the arches of your feet by pulling your toes back. This is how I sit on the floor when I clean my kids' room. This is how I watch TV sometimes. This is just very comfortable for me. It might not be for all of you, but we're not going to stay here super long, so it'll be quick. Okay, let's start just by twisting a little bit. So fingertips, right? Cupcake hands. One goes behind you. So we're going to do right hand behind us, left hand on the outside of our right thigh. Press into the fingertips of the right hand. Sit up straight and tall. Twist over your right shoulder. Come on back to center. We're not going to make a big deal about all this. We're just trying to get some space in our body and make ourselves feel good, right? So right hand to the outside of the left leg, left fingertips behind you. You're doing fingertips so you have more range of motion in your shoulder, which is what you want. You always want to have as much range of motion as you can. You don't ever want to cut that off. Come on back to center. See if you can scoot your legs out a little bit wider. Sometimes as you soften and go, you can get a little bit more space. We're just going to walk our hands out to the middle and come down to where we're comfortable. You're breathing here. Your heart center, your chest is what's going towards the floor, not the crown of your head. Right? The crown of your head should be going more towards the wall in front of you. If you were to round, you could get lower, but then you're not taking good care of your spine, and that's what you want to make sure. Knees back. You always want to protect those two things. See if you can go down a little lower. Walk your hands up. We're going to go towards the right foot. So first, itchy. First, we're going to turn over the right foot, right hand, anywhere on the inside of the right leg. You can hold the pants, you can put it right here on the inside of the knee, you can reach for the inside of your foot, which is what I prefer to do. You're pulling the toes back on the right foot, but you're doing that muscularly. You're not really doing that with your hand. And then you're just pulling yourself down towards the knee. You're letting the right elbow go out to the right. So not as big of a pose, not as knee to nose, Janu Shirshasana as we might normally do. But again, we're just creating some space, right? We're just doing light things to create space. Homemade pedicures suck. I can hardly even stand to look at my own feet. Also, I'm getting a farmer's tan. I spend lots of time outside in the summer with my kids, and I very specifically cultivate a strapless tan with the bathing suit tops I buy. And now I'm getting a farmer's tan, and it's not even Memorial Day yet. It just, the culmination of all this nonsense just makes me want to cry sometimes. Pull yourself down a little bit deeper, and then walk yourself around. We're going to do the same thing on the left side. So left hand anywhere you want on the inside of the left leg. I'm going to go for the inside of my left foot, and I'm already, before I even grab the foot, I'm already pulling the toes back and pressing out through the heel, so I'm lengthening the arch muscularly, and that engages the whole back of my calf at the same time, right? When you grab whatever you're grabbing, you should be able to bend that left elbow out to the side. If for some reason you can't, if you're holding the outside of your foot, if you're holding your foot or your leg in such a way that you can't bend the elbow out to the side, you're locking your shoulder and you don't want to do that. So figure out how to bend the elbow out. This is predominantly a low back stretch, right? You're keeping your hips grounded and you're just pulling yourself out of your low back, which I think always feels good. I was planting some flowers yesterday. I was cleaning Cam's room. My low back was especially tight last night when I got in the shower and just tried to aim the hot water right there. I was doing wall dog. I was doing yoga in the shower to try to encourage the hot water to open up my low back. But this is predominantly a low back stretch, which I think most of us can use all the time. Come on up. Let's do our shoulders real quick, right? I don't know. This is kind of the fun part of yoga for me. Some classes are big and fancy, and you're standing and you're doing Trikonasana and you're balancing and you're crossing one leg over the other. And then some classes you sit on your mat and you leave feeling just as good as if it was a big fancy class because you're still stretching and lengthening. There's just so many different ways to approach the stretch and the lengthening. I think that's what I like. I like that. That's fun to me. You're pressing your elbow in towards your chin, and you're feeling this in the back of the right shoulder. And then we're going to go up. So now my right hand is between my shoulder blades, and I'm just kind of pulling that arm to the side a little. I'm lifting my head. I'm not pressing my arm into the back of my head. I've got some space there. And then I'm going to release. And what I'm going to do now is bring my right arm out in front like I'm stop signing you. And I'm just going to make circles with my wrist going in a clockwise direction to start with. And then counterclockwise. I'm cracking. My wrist is cracking. Are you guys cracking? And then I'm going to stop sign again. I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to pull my right fingers back as I press out through the heel of my right hand to lengthen everything in my forearm, which feels surprisingly good. Sometimes it's the little tiny stretches that you didn't even know you needed that feel really good. So left hand to the right shoulder, right hand to the back of the left elbow, push. I need a manicure. Doing it yourself they don't look good. They don't look the same. All right, come on up. I wish you could smell my living room right now. The candle I have lit over there on the top of the entertainment cabinet center thing is called Sea Salt. And it's just a Home Depot, not Home Depot, Home Goods. That's how much this is screwing with my head. We're gonna do clockwise first. It's just like a Home Goods candle or Marshall's or something. But it's in this really pretty light blue glass container, and it smells like the beach. It smells the most like the beach of any candle I've ever smelled in my life. And I'm burning it so much lately that it's getting really precariously low, and I'm a little concerned because, switch directions, because I don't want it to go away. It smells good and it's pretty. And that's what I like. I like things that smell good and are pretty. Grab your fingers, press out through the heel. Did you know that the bottom of your hand was called the heel? The heel of your palm. Just like on your foot. All right, so now what we're gonna do is just a couple quick neck and shoulder things, and then we're gonna lie down, okay? So we're just gonna go up with our shoulders, squeeze them up to our ears, and then drop them. Squeeze them up, inhale on the up, exhale on the drop. Inhale, exhale, and one more, inhale, and exhale. And now just do some neck circles going in any direction that feels good to you. You can switch it up. Maybe you're feeling this down into your shoulder blades a little bit. Maybe your neck is super loose because you sleep properly and you don't sleep on a ton of pillows and move around all night like I do. Aw, you hear the dog? I know, baby, soon. Soon we're gonna go for a walk. I know. Okay, so you guys are gonna grab your strap and you're gonna lie on your back. And I'm going to talk you through this pose. I think last time maybe I did it with you, and one time I talked you through it. I feel better talking you through it than doing it with you, because I feel like when I do it with you, maybe you can't hear me great because I'm lying down. And I want you to hear all the instructions. So, and when I teach, I always talk through this because I want to be able to watch what my students are doing at the same time. So it's a little bit of a mind screw for me to be doing it this way. But I want you to lie down, and I want you to have your strap in your hand. Okay, your legs are going to go straight up in the air. So your body is a 90-degree angle. There's your head and your back on the mat. Legs are straight up in the air. And if you can stack knees over hips, and then ankles over knees, maintaining this legs up in the air position will feel better for you. I promise. Take your strap, put it around the ball of both your feet. The ball of your feet is the big bump underneath your big toe. So you want to press up through that area of your foot, which may mean lengthening your arch and kind of dropping the outside edge of your foot at the same time. But toes are coming down towards you. Heels are going straight up in the air, and the strap is around the ball of your feet. Got it? Just pull down, pull down, pull down on the toes, press up through the heel, and feel this as it starts to lengthen the whole back of your leg, right? We haven't really done the hip yet. Right now we're focusing on the hamstring, everything on the back of the knee, everything in the back of the calf, the Achilles, the back of your ankle. Every time I say the word Achilles, I think of my cousin Lou. He was playing college basketball and he tore his Achilles in a game. And I remember he sent me pictures that the doctor took from the operating room. And it was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And literally every time I say the word Achilles, I think of him. And it's probably been maybe 5 years since he did that. But it was so gross. It's like embedded in my head. So... All right, take your right leg out of the strap, bring it all the way down to the ground. Left foot is up there in the air, strap is around the ball of the left foot. So you're gonna take both straps into the left hand. You're gonna figure out how to hold them. I think I've told you this before, but I kind of like to wind them around my hand a little bit sort of like I do the same thing with the dog leash when I walk her. I like to wind it around my hand a little bit because I feel like I have a better grip and I'm a little stronger that way. You're going to turn the toes on the left foot out to the side like a penguin, and then you're going to lower your left leg out to the side, but this is the important part. You don't want the right butt cheek to lift up. You don't want the back of the right hip to lift up. So if the back of the right hip is starting to lift, you have to lift the leg a little bit higher at the same time. And you're going to keep pulling back on the toes, pressing out from the heel, and pressing out through the back of the knee. So this is where that weird paradox of it's amazing and it's awful at the same time comes into play, right? Because right now, I know, I've done this pose a million times. Right now, I know that this doesn't feel so super great, right? Your left shoulder might be at discomfort, your left forearm might be uncomfortable, your whole left hip and leg might be feeling miserable, but in the end, everything is going to feel great, and most likely, you're going to remember this pose as a pose that makes you feel really good rather than what's going on right now. Like the hot dog, right? Like the Seinfeld hot dog. It was disgusting, it was cold, it was stale, but man, you love hot dogs at baseball games. Right? This is the hot dog at the baseball game. Keep pressing out through the heel, keep pulling the toes back, keep pressing out through the back of the knee. If you can get the back of your upper arm down on the ground and still hold the strap, you can do that. You can rest your arm down on the ground. You just want to be holding the strap in such a way that your leg isn't collapsing on the floor. If your leg is on the floor, something is not right. Your leg should be up off the floor. The whole length of your leg should be up off the floor. So it's Mother's Day weekend. That seems surreal, right? That it's Mother's Day weekend because when all this started, it was the middle of March. And now it's Mother's Day weekend, almost Memorial Day weekend. Mother's Day, we've like seen my parents from their driveway. Like they've been on their front porch and we've been in the driveway. I drop groceries and stuff off, but I'm like really quick to back 10 feet away from the porch before they open the front door. And, we're going to attempt for them to sit on their deck in their yard and have dinner, and we'll sit in beach chairs in the backyard, like 10 or 15 feet away from them, having dinner and trying to be together for Mother's Day, but I'm not sure how it's going to go. I'm a little bit anxious about it, to tell you the truth. My dad got out of the hospital, I guess like a week and a half ago maybe. And we found out after that one of his doctors had come down with COVID like 2 days after he was with my dad. So we've been monitoring, my mom has been monitoring him and watching him for symptoms. And I don't know, the whole thing makes my skin crawl. It's making me nuts. So we're going to try to spend time together apart, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So bring that leg up to center. You've got one strap in each hand now, right? You're pulling down on the toes because the strap is on the ball of the foot. You're lifting up through the heel. So the arch is lengthening, and you're pressing out through the back of your knee, which is lengthening your hamstring, everything in the back of the knee, everything in the back of the calf, and then the Achilles, right? You should feel this acutely from where the hamstrings insert in the back of your hip out through the heel. And then you're going to take the straps, both of them, into the right hand. Left arm comes out to your side, palm up, just like you're doing our twists in the beginning. And this time, you're going to roll onto the outside of the right hip, like if you had Adidas stripes down the side of your leg. You're rolling onto the stripes. The left leg is going over to the right, but it's stopping hip height. So for most people, that would be like a foot off the floor. Okay, you don't want it to go lower. You don't want it to go all the way down. You want it to suspend. And you want to figure out how to hold the straps with your right hand in such a way that the leg can stay there. You can pull the toes back. You can press out through the heel and the back of the knee. And you can get the stretch and the lengthening as well as creating the space in the hip socket. So the hip socket is like a bowl, and then the femur is like a baseball. And the ball fits in the bowl, and that's how you have this amazing range of motion with your leg. But it can get jammed in there very, very tightly. So if we can pull it out and create a little bit of space, the synovial fluid, which is what lubricates your joints, will have more room to run free and everything will feel better. So that's what we're doing right now. That's our great hope with doing this pose. So you're still eating the crummy hot dog. You're not at the good memory part of the day yet. You're almost at the good memory part. Lift your leg up to center. Take one strap in each hand. Pull down. This is when you want to feel your biceps pop a little bit. Pull down. I tried to show my kids my bicep muscles the other day, and they weren't impressed at all. I think even one of them said, "Where is it?" But with this stupid Tabata workout, I'm doing like 60 push-ups every time I do the workout. And I'm only doing the workout like maybe 3 times a week. But I feel like I'm getting stronger. So I was pretty impressed with whatever I was doing that made my upper arm feel nice. No, it's super hard to impress 9 and 13-year-olds. They don't care about making you feel good about yourself. So, whatever. All right, release that leg all the way down to the floor in front of you. Left leg is going all the way down to the floor next to the right. Arms come out to your sides, palms up. Take some nice deep breaths. And go back to the beginning where, where you felt your breath move through your body. I want you to leave your arms out at your side, but I want you to feel the belly puffing up like a balloon on the inhale, and I want you to feel it exhaling and the belly and balloon flattening. And just bring yourself back to that very conscious breathing. We're going to do the second side of this pose, and then we're going to go right into Shavasana because you're going to be feeling really good. You're going to be at the good memory part of the baseball game and the hot dog. And I want to leave you on a good note. So, strap is around the ball of the right foot. Let's get this one going. Strap is around the ball of the right foot. Right leg is straight up in the air like a candlestick. You've got one strap in each hand. The toes are coming down. The heel is lifting high. You're pressing out through the back of the knee. And you're feeling this pose basically from the hip all the way up through the heel and then even into the arch, right? It's good. It's a powerful pose. It really ignites the whole length of the leg and then even into the arch of the foot, which you never ever think about, ever. Take both straps in the right hand. Bring the left arm out to your side, palm up, big T arm. Figure out where to hold the straps. I know I've said this before, I believe even to you guys, but I like to straighten my arm and hold close to my foot. That makes me feel like I have more control over the whole thing. Might not work for you. I know some people like to do it a little bit looser, but I like to go straight and tight. Lower the right leg out to the side, but don't let the left hip lift up. So if the back of the left butt cheek lifts up, then you have to lift the right leg up a little bit. Sort of like a seesaw. So Netflix gave us a gift today. If you did not watch Dead to Me, which was season 1 like a year ago, season 2 came out today, which my best friend and I are pretty excited about. It's Christina Applegate and this other girl who's really funny, and it's just really dark humor, but it's very, very funny, even though it's very, very dark. It's good. So if you don't have anything going on right now, if you don't have anything to watch, if you're just a crazy binger and you can get through 2 seasons in 1 weekend and you've never watched it, go back and watch season 1 and then treat yourself to season 2 because it's going to be good, because season 1 left you really, really wanting more. So season 2 came out today, but watch season 1 first, obviously. Press out through the heel, pull the toes back. Make sure that the toes are kind of bending back so that the ball of the foot is pronounced, and that's where the strap is sitting. Take a nice deep breath in. Bring that leg up to center. Take one strap in each hand, pull down, press out through the back of the knee, pull the toes down, lift the heel high. It's getting colder. Right? Are you hearing these crazy weather reports that some parts of the Northeast are going to get snowstorms this weekend? If that were to happen here to us, That might very well be the end of me. Between COVID, between the killer Asian hornets, did you hear about that nonsense? And now freak May snowstorms like 2 weeks before Memorial Day. No, that's too much. That is just too much. I think we're supposed to be like a high of 40 something tomorrow. That alone is way too much, but snow would just put me over the top. Yeah. Okay, take both straps in your left hand, bring your right arm out to your side, palm up. You're gonna roll onto the outside of the left hip and the left leg. If you're wearing 3 stripes, you're gonna roll onto the stripes. If you're not, you're just gonna pretend you are. Only let the leg go as high as the hip. So again, for most people, that leg is probably gonna be about a foot off the ground. That's what you want. You don't want it to go too low. Some people like to touch their foot to the floor. I don't know why, but you don't want to do that. You definitely don't want to do that. Right arm is out, right leg is going over to the left. I wish you could feel how nice that serum makes your face feel. It doesn't feel tacky and sticky, but it feels really nicely hydrated, which I love because I have very dry skin. So any kind of hydration and moisture that I can pack in, especially around my eyes, I like to do. And having it as a stick that you can literally crayon on your face when you're lying in bed, it's like a dream come true for me. This is another one where I like to hold really close to my foot and straighten my arm if I can. So the straps are in the left hand, right? Yeah, so I would be pretty straight with my arm and as close to my foot as I could. So what we're gonna do in our next class, I'm already excited about this. I'm going to tell you so that I commit myself to coming up with a lesson plan for it. We're going to do poses from the ground up, which I haven't taught in a while, but I like teaching it and it's definitely challenging. It's not gonna be anything that you haven't done or seen with me, but we're going to do them from the ground up. Very often we start our poses working our way down from a standing pose or, you know, stepping forward into a pose. We're gonna start our poses from either hands and knees or lying down or as low as we can take the pose and then building the pose and working upward. So it's gonna require a little bit more muscular effort on your part. It makes the balance a little bit shaky on a couple things that you may normally feel no issue with, but it's gonna be fun, it's gonna be a little bit challenging, and obviously you're gonna leave feeling good. So that's what we're gonna do next Wednesday. Next Wednesday at 5 p.m., poses from the ground up, okay? All right, swing your leg up to center, 1 strap in each hand. You're almost in the home run section of this pose. Pull down on the straps, pull up through the heel, pull the toes down, press out through the back of the knee. See what I mean? Like, this is a worthwhile, great pose, but it does take time, and it's kind of tiring on your arms, right? On your legs a little bit. It's kind of a tiring pose, but it's got really good redeeming qualities. So the crappy dirty water hot dog at the beautiful sunny baseball game in the middle of New York City. That's what it is. The pose is the dirty hot dog, but you're going to leave with a really good memory of the whole day, right? Yeah. All right, lower the leg down to the floor, drop your strap, bring your arms into whatever position you prefer. I always encourage palms up so that the shoulders can continue to soften. But if you want to spread your fingers and put your hands going down your torso so you can feel the breath move, you can do that as well. Close your eyes and go right into your cozy, nice, comfy Shavasana. If you were silly enough to open a window like me and your living room is getting increasingly colder, if you want to pull a blanket or a hoodie or something like that on you that you have nearby, do that. We're just going to be here for a minute or two, but I want you to be comfy. Start at the top of your head. Let's do the 4 H's. Really ground your head down. just by applying a little bit of pressure and feeling like you're definitely making contact firmly with your mat, the rug, the floor, whatever you're lying on. And then work your way out to the back of your hands. Press them down into the floor, right? Like you're lying in damp sand on your favorite beach in the world and you want to leave an imprint. You want to leave your mark when you're done. Okay? So now move down to your hips. That's the third H. Kind of wiggle your hips a little bit. Kind of, move your booty around a little bit and leave an imprint of your hips down into the ground. Leave your mark. And then go down your legs to your heels and do the same thing. Press them in. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, relax your whole body. Close your eyes if they're not, and just take a minute to be still with your breath here. Yeah, these pants are much better when you don't feel your own stubble through them. That was weird. That was weird. I didn't expect it the other day. Okay, I was sitting cross-legged for like 2 hours last night, folding a ton of laundry. And today I just want to sit like this. All right, start to wiggle your fingers and your toes a little bit. And when you're ready, press yourself up to a comfortable seated position. You can either roll to your right and come up that way, or you can pull your knees in and rock yourself up, which is what I would prefer to do. And we're just going to close with the word namaste, which means that which is divine in me honors and bows to that which is divine in you. So hands come to the heart in prayer. Press your palms into one another. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Press the outside edges of your thumbs right in between your chest, on your collar, but on your breastplate. And press your palms into one another enough that your elbows lift a little bit. You're not really doing anything to make that happen. It's happening just muscularly. Close your eyes. Big breath in, inhale, and exhale. One more, inhale. Namaste. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I've said this to you a bunch of times, but I super appreciate that you take the time to do this with me and that you've made moving from my typical way of teaching to the virtual realm comfortable and easy for me. I appreciate all your feedback. I love it when I see you out walking and you yell things at me, usually nice things. Sometimes not so nice, but that's not the yogis, that's just my friends. But I appreciate that you're supporting this class that Parks and Rec is offering, and any feedback, any constructive criticism, anything at all that you want me to do different, or maybe that you want me to try to teach, figure out how to let me know. You can message me. You can find me on Facebook. You can email me at stacyvaldez@gmail.com. If we're friends in real life, you can text me. Just, let me know. This is your class. I'm just here to help you through it. Have a super good Mother's Day. However you choose to celebrate that. It's going to be a little bit weird and different, but it can still be good, right? So have a good Mother's Day. Have a good weekend. Pray it doesn't snow, because that will pretty much ruin my life. I will see you next week, and we're going to do our poses from the ground up, and it's going to be fun and challenging, and we'll have a good time. Okay? All right, you guys. Thank you so much. See ya.